Hello, thank you for watching. Today, my name is Jonglei. I'm joined here today by the governor of Jonglei in opposition, who is Ateny, to talk about what is going on in South Sudan, mainly about national dialogue and his position as the governor of Jonglei. Thank you for joining us, Ateny, today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Before 2013, you were nobody to be known in politics, and now you are a member of SPLM in opposition. And not only that, you are a governor of Jonglei in opposition. Some members of Gen Council of Elders call you people of Pangak, and they don't take you seriously. Can you tell us today what was the reason that got you into politics, and did you make the right decision by joining the opposition instead of the ruling party with SPLM?
Thank you very much. This is a very good question, actually. And really, I become a member of IO, SPLM in opposition, just by the virtue of the nature of the politics in our country.
Yes.
And this is what they call national call. Had we gone really smoothly with the development in our country and politics in our country, I would have relaxed just like any other citizen in the West, either in Australia or in the US. But because you find yourself, the country is going down in the way it is going now, and you are a mature person, you understand politics down on the ground, and you are educated, then you think you are the right person to play part in that, instead of being an audience, you know. So I choose not to be neutral on the issues affecting myself, my children, my relatives, my family members, and my country, for such. So you talk about Gen Council of Elders. I don't know what they are. I heard about them quite often. They are part of the problem in the country. And that's one of the reasons why I got into politics, to make sure politics in our country should not be tribalized. And Gen Council of Elders are a tribal group. We have a tribe in the country called Gen, and they should not be part of politics completely. We have 64 tribes in South Sudan. They have their own setups in their own communities, but they don't get involved in politics. And that's why the country is going down very badly, because of all these institutions.
To go back to the question that I asked you before, did you make the right decision by joining the opposition rather than the ruling party, which is SPLM?
I actually made the right decision, and I put it clearly before. Had the country gone well, I would have not chosen to be a politician. But I went into politics because of SPLM. SPLM is destroying the country. The government in the country now is setting the tribes against themselves. It's not developing the country. It's causing war and insecurity in the country. And I chose the values of the SPLM in opposition to be the right values: democracy, federalism, and unifying the tribes of the country. That's why I chose to be in SPLM-IO.
According to 2015 agreement, which was signed on the 17th of August, you became the governor of Jonglei in opposition. And Agwini Panyang, which is the current governor of Jonglei, accepted you to work with you in the governor of Jonglei. When was the last time you went to Jonglei?
Well, I didn't actually go to Jonglei yet. We came to Juba, according to the peace agreement, December 2015. And the arrangement, according to the peace document, it has to be started at the national level, forming the national government, and then the state governments, and then down to other aspects of peace agreement. So we waited for the chairman, which is Dr. Riek Machar of our party, until April 2016. While we were underway, getting onto the issues of states, the war started in July, before we get down to state arrangement. So I did not get to go to the state, but then I had several meetings with the governor, talk about how to preach peace in our state, how to talk about the peace agreement, how to talk about development, how to talk about cooperation between the two parties, and all this. So we knew what we were going to do, and we reached to the right time. That's what.
Does that mean that you are not focusing more on the issues of Jonglei, but focusing on the central government issues?
No, it is according to the peace agreement. It has to be that. You see, if you read the document, it says implementation of the peace agreement. It starts with the formation of the Tigono. Tigono is the national government of national unity. Government of national unity. If that is done, then we talk about the power sharing also, and that's a power sharing part of it. You go down to the state to talk about the power sharing, and then to all these other areas, counties and all these. And then you talk about the cantonment areas. That's to do with the military. So it goes sequence. If you're done with the national, you go to the states and then down to the military and all that.
If you know, Jonglei is made up of 4 sub-Dinka communities, Nyarweng, Hall, and Twitch and Bor. And the governorship there in Jonglei is taken by turns rather than being elected by the people. And the current position now has been given to Twitch community. Yeah. The next vacancy could probably go to Hall community if things are done correctly. Do you think SPLM-IO in a position will ever have a chance to be given the position of governorship, given the fact that community determine the leadership of the state?
Well, I'm not sure about the governorship being given by turns, actually. It's starting, I think so far from the SPLM party, we have about 3 governors, if not 4. And they come through election. At least one of them or 2 of them.
One community. Last time, 3 community was asked to elect, to choose a person to be a governor of Jonglei.
I cannot speak for SPLM, actually. Yeah. But we are the democratic party. Yeah. We don't give things by intents to the communities. If anybody from any community choose to run for a governorship or any position, he can do so. Okay, we don't want to tribalize politics. That's a tribalization of politics, really. So anybody can put his hand up and run for any position. We don't give it by time. So.
It seemed to me that that's how the system is, because it was Tonleg from Nyarweng, it was Kolmanyang from Bor, and now from Twitch. Moving to the next question. During the visit of the press secretary of President of South Sudan, Ateny, you asked people who were in the audience to look around who is sitting next to them, and you said all of you, most people who are sitting in this building are all Dinkas. And you asked the question, is this the country that you guys want?
I heard you. If you're really looking for peace, and you're not looking for now, please, listen to the opinion of somebody listen to the opinion of someone who disagrees. Who is not agreeing with you? This is the democracy you are in Australia, and you have to embrace the norms of democracy. Please. Now, if you look at yourself as South Sudanese and look next to you, every next person is a Dinka. Are you proud of it? Every next person to you is a Dinka. Are you proud of that? South Sudan will want?
Are you trying to blame the crisis in South Sudan on Dinka population?
No. I was not questioning the number of Dinka in the country, but I knew Ateny is the spokesperson of the president of the country, and the president is not a president of one tribe, the president of the whole country. So if we are receiving a spokesperson of the highest office for his own good interests, he should be happy to see everybody, every tribe receiving him, because he's going to talk about politics of the country. He was not coming to talk on the issues of the community. Okay, so, and I was invited, informed that today is the function of all the South Sudanese community talking to their, spokesperson. So when I went there, it was literally Dinka community. And as a politician, I didn't feel good, although I belong to Dinka community. But we talk about diversity. When we talk about politics of the country, we involve everybody. So I don't know why Ateny could be proud of having only Dinka listening to him on the issues of South Sudan. That's bad politics.
Did you know that were you sure that whether people of other tribes refused to come to the event, given the fact that it was organized by Jain community?
And that's a
could
question.
that be the reason they did not turn up?
Whether they were invited and didn't turn up, or were not invited, it shows something is not right.
Yeah.
Okay, if they refuse, something is not right. All the 63 tribe members refuse not to turn up, then you have to question that and fix it. Or if you didn't invite them, then all is not good.
Let me read this. SPLM supporters, SPLM-IO, which is being led by Dr. Riek Machar. The supporters has been accused of self-exclusion. It is alleged that there are communities who are SPLM-IO communities. We have SPLM-IO in diaspora. And someone said the other day there are SPLM-IO churches and even restaurants. There was one restaurant in Juba. Should they be blamed for self-excluding?
Well, I'm not sure about that, but if that is true, then that shows the popularity of the SPLM-IO, really. If you name your own little shop IO or SPLM-IO, then we are popular. And this is what we keep saying. We have supporters everywhere.
Would you call that popularity than politicizing citizens who are not supposed to be interested in politics?
Well, we're not naming everybody to be IO. We have a party called IO.
Yeah.
But in Juba, if someone is calling his own shop or whatever is running SPLM-IO, what does that show? That's a love to that organization.
But isn't it that you're talking about disunity in the country? Having people involved in politics who are not supposed to be in politics, like civilians who don't really know what is going on with politics, getting more deep into politics, is it not going to create more division within the communities?
Actually, instead of just trying to oppress or play down, the feeling of the people, life is politics. When you are suffering, you have to question politics around you. If you are happy, you appreciate the politics around you. If people are, singing the names of SPLM-IO, then they are hoping something good is coming with these people. And that's why the government is not happy with that. And government is now oppressing people, lynching people, just because of the name of IO in the country. Okay? So it is not SPLM-IO politicizing politics. Okay? We are there for everybody. And that's why you see people happy naming whatever they're naming SPLM-IO.
But what do you think of people, like, we have communities now, particularly given the fact, in Australia, there are people who don't want to be together, like Nuer community and some people in Dinka community, they don't want to come together because of the politics in South Sudan. Isn't this the problem that I'm trying to mention here?
That's really bad. That's a bad part of it. And that's why we say the government of the country must be seen to unite the people. And that's why I question the forum of Ateny work, okay? Just appealing to only Dinka and happy to be talking to Dinka and trying to politicize my genuine question of where are the rest of the tribes, everybody in the country, okay? But it came out trying to condemn that you need Dinka, whether in a fight or in voting. There, you're not appreciating the diversity. You should be the one to question that. So the fact that people are not uniting here should be seen as it's a bad thing, and we have to work for it. And since we have about three regions in the country, unity start, at the smallest unit, goes to the whole country. So in our Upper Nile region, we are the most divided region. and we need to look into ourselves and unite. We have been used by the government, actually, to divide the country, dividing the region to divide the whole country. And the recent language now is about Dinka, Jiang, Dinka, Jiang. That is dividing the country. If you unite the tribe Jiang, including those who are on the other side, what are you going to do with it?
That's why I've asked that question before. How do Jiang and politics in South Sudan and the crisis in South Sudan come together?
The government is trying, just like I told you before, the government is trying to tribalize the politics. We, Jiang, are the largest, or Dinka, for that matter, we are the largest tribe in the country. And we also happen to be, one of us happen to be the president of the country. Now, instead of unifying the whole country, our president is taking advantage of, having come from the largest tribe to try and intimidate the rest, the minorities, trying to use the cards of Dinka. Okay, everybody from our community now would say, "Oh, we suffered for this country. We did this for this country," which means they have entitlement to reward themselves, to loot the country, the resources, not to develop the country, and rewarding themselves.
Yeah, it seems to me as well, Riek Machar is also using Nuer to fight this war.
Well, I don't know how, but we are here. SPLM-IO, from the government side, they're trying to use the propaganda. It is a Nuer organization. In actual fact, it's not a Nuer organization. It is everybody's. And the fact that majority of the soldiers on the ground are from Nuer, they were actually mobilized by the government, by Salva himself. Okay, if you target one single tribe in Juba and kill them, then you are mobilizing them against you. So they felt they're being targeted, and they had to defend themselves. Okay, but the leadership comes in and trying to nationalize, the movement.
Take a look at this footage at Ateny conference in Melbourne.
You can joke about it, you can bluff about it, you can fantasize about it, but there's no peace in the country. We have to bring it. Okay? The national dialogue.
If we don't listen to him, he will think that he has beaten us. His opinion has completely beaten us. If we don't listen to him, let him say whatever he says, I will respond.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
One moment, excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Should I use the language of Kanisa? Hallelujah! 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 Guys, let me repeat this a few times. One of the things that make us enjoy this country, called Australia and some other Western democracies, is an acceptance of an idea or opinion that differs from yours.
The issue of how South Sudan can be governed, we can come up with the healthy ideas. We are not afraid of anybody to tell us anything he wants to say or she wants to say. So leave him, please. Leave him, please. My request.
People are in Australia, in a country that is fully democratized. How did you feel about that reaction?
Well, it is actually disappointing because, you see, somebody living in a democratic country like Australia understood the culture of this society, Australia, and is still reacting like somebody in South Sudan. It was shocking, and anybody, can condemn that. But then they are victims. They've been brainwashed. Just like I said, our government and anybody criticizing or saying anything bad about our government led by Dinka is not one of us. That's the politics, being rammed into their minds by Ateny, President Kiir, and everybody around them. So they are victims, they are just being used.
Don't you think that the problem in South Sudan is not just only with politicians, it's also with civilians? Because people don't really know the system of democracy or what is actually best for the country. And how do you get people to know these type of things?
No, if you look at that forum, you have people who are highly educated, but still they consider themselves as members of Dinka. And they have that responsibility to protect the government, to protect, President Salva. They want to be seen on that camera as well, that they are defending one of their own. So it's not about, ignorance. People of South Sudan are not the problem, really. The problem is the government. If South Sudan gets a unifying leader like Dr. Machar right now, everybody will change overnight. Because this is about political culture. If you bring a unifying leader to talk positively about everybody, in every speech you give, everybody will find himself in positively. People will unite. But if you tend to blame the problem are the people, not the leadership, then you get it wrong. People of South Sudan are not the problem. Yeah. Look, Riek did not go to war because of Nuer being killed in Juba. Okay. Riek, just like a political rival, just like others, and he happened to be Nuer in Juba, he fell victim. Okay. He was being targeted as a Nuer, he was being targeted as a political leader.
There are the people that were targeted, like the detainees that happened to be G10s.
Well, they were arrested. Yeah. Okay. Riek escaped. He fled the country. Okay, I mean the city Juba, and he went and teamed up and organized himself to defend himself. Okay, just like every other person who was targeted in Juba. Okay, they organized a movement to defend themselves and to bring change to the country.
Did you think that there could have been other way to solve the problem rather than going to war, given the fact that the country is worse than what it used to be?
War is always the last resort. And if you look back from the hindsight, the politics of the country, okay, there has been ups and downs between Dr. Riek and the president, okay. Look at the dissolution of the whole cabinet, okay, on the July 2013. Look at all these other, politics in the party about democratizing the constitution, reconciliation and national healing from Dr. Riek. All of this brought internal rift in the party, okay? And all of this to the December 6th, when that group had to go public and talk about what is going on within the party and in the country and as such, okay? That is all about trying to resolve the issues peacefully and politically. But the president chose to use power. He chose war, trying to eliminate the politician, militarily.
Most anti-Riek are not concerned about what Riek is fighting for, but they are most concerned about the pain that Riek Machar or the war led by Riek Machar has inflicted on them. As member of Gen Council, they stated that most drop of blood that happen in South Sudan, Riek Machar must be part of. Don't you think that is a strong statement that could bring somebody down during the election?
How do you give someone a chance or the benefit of the doubt instead of pushing him away, talking about the bad past? We have very bad history, okay? If you mention 1991, you will have to mention 1986, you will have to mention 1989, you will have to mention 1985, and even 90s done by Carbino. All the leaders, including the current president, have done terrible things in the country. Every tribe have some scars of the war, including the Dinka Boer, every Dinka. So if you come down to just talk about 1991, okay, then you are opening the scars between Boer and their neighbors because of their bad past. Okay, if you talk about, if you want to unite the people, talk about the good past. Okay, we have gone through, all these bad things, but we can still unite as a country. Don't mention all these bad things and use them against, because otherwise someone will use the bad things against you.
But the politicians are continuing to make to repeat the history. Riek Machar has more to lose than to gain than Salva Kiir Mayardit. Should he focus more on not try to get himself into action that would see people turn against him?
I don't know who is gaining in this. I don't know why would someone gain out of this carnage. Look at the suffering in the country, the death, the famine, all these other bad things. How can Salva gain out of this? How can Dr. Riek gain out of this?
In terms of how people would, during election, I mentioned the election now, because it would take more time for people to heal and be able to pick the right politician. That's what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah, give it. Why would you care about someone losing? After all, whether you have done a good thing or bad thing, you will lose or win anyway.
Yeah.
Okay? The good thing is to take people to election and defeat him politically. I mean, democratically.
Yeah. So, you talk about election, and now most SPLM-IO, which are the members of your party, are not in South Sudan. The election is coming so soon. Do you think they will take part in the election?
I don't know how would that election come about. If you read the document,
peace agreement.
If you read the document, there's no implementation of the peace agreement, and that's why there's revitalization of the peace. Okay, all this process that will lead to the election have not been done, and that's why there's revitalization. If there will be election, it will come through revitalization, not the current status.
We're talking more about the peace agreement now, and some of you have been criticizing the peace agreement, describe it as it has collapsed, and so many people in the IGAD countries don't agree with that. Why do you say it's collapsed?
I don't know what is the position of the IGAD, but what I know about the IGAD has failed to help in bringing the peace in the country. IGAD is divided. If you look at Uganda, Museveni is actively engaging on the ground militarily in the country.
He withdrew the forces.
But he's still there, and they are not working together to bring peace. Okay? So peace now, to have a peace in the country, there's a need of pushing it to the next level, to the AU, African Union, and then maybe to the next level if African Union fails. So IGAD, everybody knows IGAD has failed, and they have taken sides on the question of the peace.
Yes. How would IGAD fail when the peace agreement was signed? The only person who seemed to have refused the peace agreement, who thought at that time was not fair or it was benefiting the opposition more, was the president by himself. With opposition was given the platform to be part of the government, and the failure that happened in opposition, should they be blame on opposition, given the fact that now you are blaming how Taban got into leadership?
Well, it is a year on now since the peace collapsed in the country, and the region thought Taban will bring peace. Now we're talking the country is getting worse. The situation in the country is getting worse. Okay, Taban is not interested in implementing the peace agreement. All right, he just surrendered himself to Salva, to the government, and There's no peace. Otherwise, they would have not been talking about the revitalization.
You would say like Taban surrendered himself to peace agreement, and that is the statement that did not convince most African Union members, which are IGAD members, because Taban was the person who negotiated the peace for Dr. Riek Machar and signed the peace agreement. General Taban came from there. So how would you blame that on the government?
Look, this is totally politicking. It wasn't not done for the interest of peace in the country. It was just politics. Now we can argue about how Taban got himself there, but the real question is, what has he done so far? Okay. Did he implement the peace? Why are we talking about revitalization then? Why is the war still going on in the country? Okay. That qualifies the argument that Taban did not go there to implement peace.
Isn't it because that the opposition is not supporting it? Not the opposition, which was SPLM-IO, split into two.
And
the
that's
one
why
that went to Juba and the one went to...
Yes, and that's why we say there's no peace. Okay,
should there
and the
be
peace has
accountability
collapsed.
within your two groups? The one with Dr. Riek Machar and the one with Taban?
I don't know what you're talking about, but look, we said there's a war in the country in July. And the peace collapsed. The government got himself some friends who pretend to be members of the IO and is still implementing peace. Now, have they implemented peace? Okay, the question is, you got himself, okay, some members from the SPLM that you fought, IO that you fought, and you said, I want these guys, they will implement peace with me. Have they? They haven't. And we're talking about peace in the country, not because of what Sulfur wants.
You have been saying that the peace has failed. But that peace agreement on the 15th of August gave the opposition the platform and gave you that platform of becoming the governor of Jonglei in opposition. If the peace agreement has collapsed, don't you think that you don't have the platform to be recognized as the governor of Jonglei, or your political party being recognized under?
Well, we are organization, we are movement, and we have our organization, we have our setup, okay? And the government, okay, knows there's an IO with all the governors, with all the military commanders, okay? So when we come together, when peace comes, we'll come together and share powers according to the peace agreement, okay? We will come as governors or maybe deputy governors or whatever, according to the setup in the peace agreement. But you don't have to question what is going on the other side. Okay, they have their own governors, we have our own, and that's...
So it's a two system. Now you are refusing national dialogue, which was called by the president in March. Why are you refusing?
We are not refusing the national dialogue. Okay. Now you agree with me that there's war in the country. Okay. And you talk about national dialogue. Who are you going to dialogue with? How can you dialogue with someone who is fighting you? What we say is national dialogue is a good thing. We have it in the peace agreement, but there's a sequence. Peace and then national dialogue. Okay? If we bring peace in the country, there will be no fear of somebody coming to the country and talk about the issues of national dialogue. Because national dialogue embraces everybody. It will start with the IDPs, just across the road, next to J1. Okay? If there's the peace in the country, they will come out and come and dialogue. There are refugees in the neighboring countries. Have they brought them?
Isn't it because opposition haven't joined the national dialogue?
Because there's no peace.
There's war.
Yes, because there's war. So let's talk about peace and then national dialogue.
Would the members of national dialogue try to go to South Africa and talk to Dr. Riek Machar about what is their intention?
And then what?
But they were rejected. Yeah. Would it be better if you just try to listen to them and see what is it that is in national dialogue?
There was communication. If you look at it, if you read a letter written by the co-chair, okay, Abelalier, and then the response from the Dr. Riek, okay, we appreciate what is going on, but it is not at the right time now. Now is not the right time, okay? Now the other co-chair decided to, put his little group together and went to South Africa with no communication, disregarding the correspondence going on through the letters. Okay, Abelalier did not go to South Africa, and Abelalier was the one communicating with Dr. Riek. This other guy disregarded all this and just went to South Africa anyway. That is politics. Okay, they're trying to send you the wrong message. That we're here trying to bring national dialogue to SPLM-IO, and they refuse. Now, why do you refuse the peace and talk about national dialogue? How do they,
Well, everything has to be done through communication. Seem to me
and
now.
This is the communication. The two letters.
Since the war has been going on for so long now, and there's not been any solution. President Kiir has been asking Dr. Riek Machar to denounce violence, and it would give him amnesty if he could come back to Juba, and he refused all the offers. Is he happy to be in exile?
That is tactical. Well, exile is part of politics. It's part of the struggle. All right. If you look at your great leaders in Africa or elsewhere, they have been, in exile, in detention, in prison, and all this. Okay. So Dr. Riek Machar being in South Africa is not the end of everything.
Yeah. Let me go back to renegotiating the peace agreement. Does that mean that we have to go back to the document of 2015, disqualify Taban from his position and give it back to Dr. Riek Machar?
The question of Taban, if he believes he's a member of IO, the IO will sit down and decide. If he wants to be the chair of the IO, it is a question of the party. It should not concern the whole country. Okay? But what is important now and important for the country is peace. The internal issues of the IO will be dealt by IO. It should not worry you. Who will come and the first vice, whether it's Taban or whoever, it should not come from someone else. It will come from the IO.
Yeah. Will Riek Machar ever be president in South Sudan? Yes.
Well, Riek Machar has a right to be a president of the country, just like any other citizen in the country. What is important is giving person a chance of going to election. Anybody, Riek Machar, any other person who want to run, Lem or anybody. Through that election, you could be given an opportunity to lead, or someone else will be given an opportunity. But Riek Machar, as a citizen of the country, as a politician, he has a right to be a president of the country. Could people of South Sudan bring him? Well, my summary, ladies and gentlemen, is to be very, truthful to ourselves. We have to accept that we belong together, and we will always belong together in the country. All the 64 tribes of the country will always belong together. And we have to accept that we have a problem in the country, and we have to fix it with honesty. We have to bring peace to the country. We have to accept each other, whether it's between the president and Dr. Riek Machar, or a person of Lama Call, or any other person who want to be a president. Anybody will be given a chance, an opportunity to either fail or win the election. Otherwise, politicking, dividing the country in the names of either Dinka or Nuer or any other tribe is not benefiting anybody, including even the president himself. So let's accept peace. Let's actually revitalize the peace with honesty and bring peace to our country and develop our country. Thank you.
All right, thank you for coming today, Governor Alier, and appreciate your time here today. And
thank you.
Good luck with everything.
Thank you.
Yeah.